Chapter 2, A Failed Robber. Looking at the rusted, chipped blade in his hands, Rody could not believe that he had followed others and became a robber. Star had brought Rody to a place called the Wild Boar Pub where they met a one-eyed middle-aged fatty. Star then told the fat person that they needed money and were looking for a job. Although the man knew Star, he did not have much confidence in Rody. Star assured him that Rody was more skillful than himself and also said that Rody was an honest and reliable person. Even then, the man decided to test Rody's skills. Fortunately, that concern disappeared when Rody demolished the table with one punch. The fat man was now immediately enthusiastic about Rody. He realized that this student of the Imperial Academy possessed strength surpassing that of a grade 1 swordsman. He only had 2 other people of such talent under his leadership at the moment. With the participation of this young man, that night's business would have a high chance of success. The fat man brought them to a secret room at the back of the pub. Inside, there were 3 more people in simple clothes. Their faces were covered with masks up till their eyes. They looked at Star and Rody with vigilant eyes. They all knew Star and looked at him with respect. They did not dare to disrespect a mage. In particular, Star, who was a mage of electrical affinity. None of them would want to become roasted by electricity. However, when they saw Rody's eyes, they were not as friendly, particularly when they saw Rody's yin-yang face. They all held back their laughter. Rody had been accustomed to such reactions over the years and was not particularly bothered. At the very least, he showed no emotional changes. When the fatty distributed the weapons to them and briefed them about their job, Rody started to become muddle-headed. Remember, you are not bandits. However, you must pretend to be bandits. Your mission is to intercept the carriage and teach a bitter lesson to the nobles in the carriage. Remember, do not kill. Robbing them is enough. My employer hired us to teach them a lesson. If you kill them, be prepared to be sent to the guillotine. When you return, each person will get 2 gold coins. Be careful of the bodyguards. I heard that they have grade 3 bodyguards. However, a few of you should be able to defeat one of the bodyguards if you gang up on him with a sneak attack. Rody, Star and the other 3 partners took their weapons and waited among the trees outside the city. They watched nervously from a distance. Frankly, Rody was starting to regret. He knew that this was not a big job as he was just hired to be a temporary bandit in the city. There were lots of people earning money this way. Even some unconventional warriors had made money in this manner. However, if he failed and his identity was exposed, he would be expelled from the academy and his future would be finished. However, as he thought about it slowly, if he could not obtain the money, he would also be expelled in a month's time. Either way, the result would be the same. Gradually, Rody started to feel better. This was because the target was said to be an annoying noble. This helped to stop Rody from feeling guilty. Rody did not have a favorable impression of the rich, wasteful and immoral nobles. They were near a path leading out of the city. This road was usually empty, but ever since His Majesty had constructed a road here, there had been more travelers. The purpose of this road was obviously to collect taxes. Be careful. They are coming. One of the guys with a sword in his hand whispered. Rody looked at him. He was lying down with his ear lightly pressed to the ground. The guy looked up and told them, "Get ready, they are coming this way, the carriage is here." Rody did not like this person because he was the first to pick a weapon. The weapon this person took was a sword that Rody had wanted as well based on his posture. This person was not a swordsman, which was why Rody did not know why he insisted on taking this sword. Rody had wanted to trade the rusty knife in his hands for that sword. During quiet nights, you would not find a single traveler here. However, from a distant carriage, the sound of horses trampling on the ground was clearly audible. Rody felt nervous as he looked at Star. Star also looked nervous, but it was not as bad as Rody after all. Star had done this before. What a terrible night. Nicole played with her fingers before drawing the curtains of the carriage. The moonlight shone on her and illuminated her beautiful golden hair, making her look like a goddess. Nicole was not happy as it had been a terrible night. Baron Sloane, Her Majesty the Empress's nephew, had been pursuing her for at least a month. She could no longer stand his pestering and had finally agreed to attend the banquet at his residence. However, that insufferable fellow, though a gentleman on every other occasion, had been rude to her. It seems like that insufferable fellow who just came to the capital does not know my nickname. He actually dared to drink wine and attempted to kiss me. That kick to his crotch was ample punishment for his impudence. It will certainly make sure he can't court women for at least a month. Nicole's mood was still really bad. Even though she had already punished that nauseating lecture, her heart still grieved. Has the great Tulip family declined so much? Has the great Tulip family, who was the god of war of the imperial army of the empire, declined until they can be bullied by mere country bumpkins? Nicole knew that since her father died 6 years ago, her family had lost its last main pillar of support. Even though they were from a martial family of the empire, a family without a single man would be unable to gain a foothold in the imperial capital. Her only hope left was her little brother. Unfortunately, that idiot would only bring the family several hundred years of disgrace. Her brother, who was the descendant of the god of war of the imperial army, had only created trouble in the imperial academy with his pathetic strength. Otherwise, he would be spending money along with the other nobles and caused trouble everywhere. He gave everyone headaches and heartaches. At that time, she, who was not even 10 years of age, had to suddenly assume responsibility for the whole family. She had relied on her faith and persistence for so many years. At times, she would think to herself, why was I not born a boy? If she were a boy, it would justify herself shouldering the responsibility of her family's revival. While she was recalling past events, the horse suddenly neighed in panic. The carriage driver, old Mark, shouted out, "Damn bandits!" Rody had not rushed out. Although he was strong, he was not reckless. He observed the other people rushing out as he continued to hide behind the trees. If those guys could get the job done without him showing his face and he could still get paid, why not? The coachman was stopped by one of his accomplices. Rody noticed something was not quite right. Wasn't there supposed to be a grade 3 swordsman? Why was there only one driver? Although the old driver looked quite tough, he had already been brought down the carriage by one of his accomplices. The unexpected smooth execution of the job made them excited. One of the accomplices thumped on the door of the carriage hard. It was meant to intimidate the passengers of the carriage. Unexpectedly, the door of the carriage slowly opened. The first thing that came out was a slim foot with rounded ankles. Its skin was as smooth as snow. Just the foot itself was God's masterpiece. While Rody was still astonished, a slender figure emerged from the carriage. If Rody was the only one in a daze earlier, everyone would definitely be in a daze right now. This girl, or rather, this goddess. Under the moonlight, her beautiful face was like ivory. Her blonde hair flowed softly and gently. Her eyes had a tranquil blue color. Her small rosy lips smiled subtly. Wait, smile? Not good. Rody finally noticed something else was wrong, but he could not shout out in time. The air suddenly swirled fast as everyone looked up to see a 34 meters high tornado. The leaves and branches were all sucked in as the tornado let out a thunderous sound. She is a mage. Star was the first to shout out. As a mage himself, he could understand the real strength of this girl. Star immediately knew, without a doubt, that he was no match for her. Everyone here, including Rody, who was still hiding, would not be able to defeat her. Damn. She is not just abnormally beautiful but also abnormally strong. Just a smile, without any preparation, could summon a thunderous tornado. This power was that of a mage of at least grade 6 or higher. In comparison, his strength as a mage was not even worth mentioning. Star immediately wanted to run. He had learned his grandfather's motto that death was not heroic. However, the girl had noticed Star because of his earlier shout. Her beautiful eyes stared at Star as her lips started to move and said, "You are wrong, I am not a mage." Finishing this sentence, Nicole gently pointed at Star with her index finger. A lightning bolt shot out from within the tornado. Star only managed to chant the first 2 words of his protective spell before being hit by the lightning bolt. A blood-curdling scream followed. Nicole then gently raised her hands. 2 people immediately floated up as if they were grabbed by an invisible hand. Nicole looked at them with her mocking eyes before moving her hands again. The 2 people crashed into each other and soon fell down without making a sound. The remaining person did not bother trying to fight and ran off. Immediately Nicole did not chase. She merely pointed at the head of that person and shot a lightning bolt at him. The poor man's hair all stood up as he fell down. Rody's mouth was paralyzed and he was stunned naturally. He knew that he would not be able to defeat this person. In actual fact, He was no more than a grade 1 swordsman. Two of his accomplices were also grade 1 swordsmen. Nicole casually picked up two of the bandits with something to vent on. Her mood had improved. She looked at the coachman sitting on the ground and said, "All right, old Mark, you don't have to sit. I know you are all right. Just grab someone and take them to public security tomorrow. They definitely have accomplices. Just leave the rest here. They will remain unconscious for at least a day after that." She climbed into the carriage and drew back the curtains. Rody did not want to leave his hiding spot, but then he saw the old man pick up the electrocuted Star and carried him on his back. Star's pitiful clothes were also electrocuted and Star's face was grayish-black. Rody saw the old man tie up Star and threw him into the luggage compartment. Without a choice, Rody tailed the carriage. He was not a person who would abandon a friend. He would definitely try to rescue Star. Not to mention the fact that Star was only here to help Rody earn some money for his tuition fees. He would not have been here if he had not wanted to help Rody. When Rody was tracking the carriage, he passed by the remaining unconscious person on the ground. He did not forget to grab that man's sword. After all, the unconscious electrocuted fellow did not need it anymore.